Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Let's Talk, where I will be sharing my testimony on things that I had to endure and overcome as a young child until present. And you guys will continuously see how God has been and still is elevating my life from them times until present. And now we're on volume 21, part 1, which is the second to last video for the final aspect of my testimony until this present day. So let's get into it. So now, following up from volume 20 part 3, I left off where I said that I now left them. I don't know if the wife had still stand there with him or she had probably walked away from him. I know I had walked away and gone to my workplace, but I was numb at this point and I just could not speak because I was just shocked. I think I was more in shock more than anything else because I couldn't cry. I couldn't even talk. All I was doing was smoking, going in and out of the office, smoking. I was just in that state of mind. I had forgotten now that I have eaten. And I know the good Lord was saying in an elaborate, loud voice, Shay, is this the man you want? Now that I've revealed everything to you that you keep looking past and looking over, are you going to stay? Remember, God does not force anything on us. He will show us the truth, and it's up to us if we want to take that truth and work with him. Yeah, that was exactly what God was doing last year, July. Yeah, and then I was just smoking my life away. Yeah, and it did not stop there because I was just smoking excessively, as I said to you guys before. Smoking was just my thing. And the weed smoking as well. When I'm not at work, I will go home and then smoke my weed. The reason why I didn't even smoke weed when I was at work was because I wanted to make sure that I am on point when I'm always at work. So when I go home, I would smoke the weed. So I put the cigarette down and then take up the weed because I needed something where I'm not thinking. And the weed was that for me at that time. And it was just treacherous, guys. It was so bad that I couldn't even talk to my best friend. I couldn't even call her. Yeah, I was just embarrassed. I was numb. I was even lower on self-esteem more than I was already lacking self-esteem in that moment or over those periods of time. So after a few hours of that incident on that same day, I got a text message from the man. He said, I want to talk to you. And added onto it, if you don't want to talk to me, I completely understand, but I would love for you to hear me out. Guys, even after all that revelation, the truth coming to light, I still decided that I wanted to hear this man out and listen to all his stories yet again. Yeah. Not to mention, I know now that I was committing adultery because it was confirmed that he was actually married. It was no business marriage. He was married and probably still is now. As I said, I haven't spoken to him in a while, even though I have forgiven him and let him out of my heart and I wish him all the best. But still, I think he's still married. So at that point, he was married. So I was committing adultery, sleeping with someone's husband. Correct? Yeah, but I was there convincing myself, no, I really need to hear him out. Again, I do not know what I was holding on to, but I realized I was holding on to the lust aspect of our relationship because the lusting part of our relationship was much stronger than anything else that I ever experienced in my entire life. Yeah. It was stringent. It was strong. I felt the permanence of it at the time. Thank God that it's broken. Anyways, once you start following God, God breaks off every addiction off of you. The next day, we decided that after work, he would come and pick me up and then we would go for a drive. So remember, I told you guys that he bought his car, everything now, because his life was just going on the up and up, irrespective of whatever. And then my life was just deteriorating, yet still I wanted to stay. I didn't know any better. I know now that my self-esteem was wrecked completely. Anyways, we went for this drive and he started to tell me in his own version what he wanted to tell me. And he mentioned that The reason why he didn't tell me the whole truth, or the truth about whole truth, the truth, because he didn't tell me any truth in the first place. So the reason why he didn't tell me the truth was because he was scared of losing me, and he could not see his life without me. And I was like, oh, okay. Was I flattered? A little. Again, the lust was speaking much more stronger than my spirit was at the time, because I buried my spirit in one space, one part. Yeah, this is where he went even deeper. He said to me now, he doesn't love his wife anymore. And it's been like this for years, like he's gone off of her. And that she's holding on to something that is clearly not there anymore. But then I couldn't fight the thought of thinking that, okay, if that's the case, then why don't you just divorce her and put it to bed? Why are you going to give this woman mixed signal continuously? Like, he's giving her mixed signals, because I even said this to him, obviously, as we were having a conversation in his vehicle. I said to him, but you're giving her mixed signals, because you're saying one thing, you've done another thing in terms of filing for a separation in 2017. Yet still, you keep going to your marital home, you keep sleeping with her, you keep going to holidays and making yourself present. That's where you live, essentially. If you're not sleeping around with your other women in those other nights that you're not spending with your wife. So you're giving her mixed signals. So what's that? And he came up with another story that no, he wasn't living there. He was living with his brother that I had employed, grandmother's house, which is his grandmother too, in the area that his wife found us. Remember, I said that majority of his family members was living in that area where he brought me to the restaurant where his wife saw us. Yeah. So he was like fooling my head with all these things. But again, I listened as he fooled my head with all the lies yet again. Also, I forgot to mention to you guys that in March last year, he decided that he wanted us to go back to his country again in November of last year. Because why? He wants to prove to me how much he loves me. And I was like, oh, but then this was all the talks when he had come back from his country in 2023, before we had moved in 2024 to my mom from my friend. Yeah, it is a whole thing. So he was saying all of that. So in March, we started paying down on the tickets to travel in November of last year. And then when story came to light now in July, when I found this about his wife, where God was showing me like, listen, this is it. We were still paying down on the tickets, because I was still thinking, okay, why would I be paying for a ticket if he's not telling the truth? I was using that as an excuse. So even after finding out about his wife, I was adamant that I would let him continuously pay for these tickets, because I was going, because no, he's probably telling the truth. And with the separation letter, everything, I was making excuses for this man. Even after the whole revelation, my people. Another thing that blew my mind, and I said it in volume 20, part 3, about the things that he said the reason why he didn't want to divorce his wife was gruesome. Okay, so this man said to me that the reason why he didn't want to divorce his wife was because he didn't want her to get half of his things. And I wasn't thinking at that moment. It was like after a few days or so, I think it seeped into my system. And I was thinking, okay, but if he can do that to his wife, that they've been together from donkey's years before they moved to the UK, and he knows her more, and he has 5 children with her, which she is entitled to half of his things, because come on, she sacrificed so much of her life for him. And he would say all those things, how much more would he do to me? And I have nothing to say to show that, okay, this is from him, or we have a life together. I didn't have nothing. As far as I was, or as far as the system would see us, I was a single woman dating a married man. So the embarrassment and the judgment would be on me, essentially. So when I looked on that, I was thinking, okay, so if he can do his wife all that, what more would he do to me? What he would not do to me? Not to mention all of his other women that I saw in his phone that kept texting him, asking him for attention, and he keeps ignoring them. What's the difference with me? I was now like his side chick. Classified it as a side chick. Yeah. So there was no importance of me in his life. I was not important as much as how he made it seems that way, and telling me, oh, this, and telling me that, and giving me certain amount of attention that he wasn't giving the other women. It still didn't stop the fact that it was a relationship built on lust. We enjoyed the lust side of our relationship at that time. There was nothing else. There was no love. It was lust that was leading that relationship. I felt also that he held on to me because of my ambition and how I went above and beyond for him as well. Because he would always make mention to the fact that he's never dated a woman that, is so ambitious and, intelligent and all of these things. Like, he's never, and he would make mention and, throwing jabs at his wife, talking about his wife is not intelligent and stuff. And I said, don't talk about her like that to me, because he said, no, I'm not. I'm just saying, but this is why I didn't want to say it, but, I'm just saying it no. And I said, yeah, don't say that. It's not nice. This man was in competition with me still. He was just all over the place. He was never a person who loved. He didn't know how to love, no matter how much he tried. He tried by lying and putting on a show or a facade to make him seem like he was a man of integrity. That's what he was doing, but deep down, he is suffering. Things became extremely pear-shaped, and the boat was almost submerged into the sea. So before there was any form of drowning, right? it was just a little bit where you could just peek out your nose and get some oxygen, right? So that's where I was at in that relationship last year, in the last part of July, going into August. And he realized that I was not going anywhere, irrespective of the revelations and everything and the things that he filled my head up with. He had no respect even further than what he did not have for me already. People, he dealt with me anyhow in the last parts of July, early parts of August last year. Anyhow. And I accepted it. I accepted it because I was thinking, okay, when we go to his country in November, he's going to show me something different. Mind you, we paid off our flight now in August. The early parts of August, we finished paying off the final parts of our tickets. So now it was time to start getting the preparation to go to his country in November. We continuously to hate each other, but enjoyed each other sexually. That was the only time we could stand each other. Yet still, I wanted to go to his country in November, thinking that, yes, he is going to change. At this point, my body was deteriorating, my mind deteriorated. As I said, smoking became my thing to numb myself from thinking or feeling anything. Weed. And he would just buy me the weed every time. Yep, are you finished? Yes. Okay, bring me some more. All right, cool. Bring me more. Smoke. Make sure you smoke before I come. I'm on my way. Okay? I'll be doing all of that last year, the early parts of August. Nonetheless, stay tuned for the final part of my testimony, where I will tell you guys how God came in, how God came in now on the 25th of August 2024 and rescued me, took me out of that bondage and that captivity and said, run. Literally. He said, run. And I ran for my life. And I ran till today. And I am here to share my testimony. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.